Musk's Tesla Inc. is sparking concerns around job security.
This is not financial advice, silly.
Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. Turned up to work and went to start my day. Was barely late, like 9:08. So took my coffee break. Then I got hungry, so I just stopped by the free buffet. But then to my dismay, I heard somebody say, "Attention humans, you have lost, you have not met your quota. Pack your belongings in a box, now it's over." Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. But I'm in management. I work hard every day. I need these benefits, health and 401k. How could they do this shit though? Where will I trade my crypto? I had a second monitor for Twitter, where will it go? Somebody please stop the bus. I mean, not the fuss, but there's lots of us. And now you say you won't pay me to play ping pong because Optimus. I mean, who employs a damn humanoid? Some new droid for you to exploit, deploy to destroy your human droid. No lunch breaks, great, get a few deployed. Your time is up, human inferior to me. I'll take it from here, get relieved of your duty. Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. It's okay, human, please don't cry. You can always go and become a Twitter thread guy. Make pretty pictures with Midjourney on your new PC. Or make some YouTube videos about ChatGPT. Sucker. Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. Robot just stole my job. I'm there like, oh my god. I blame it on Elon. He's taking all I got. I mean, I didn't even write this song. I just used ChatGPT because it's way easier. Holy shit. We are so doomed. Robot just stole my job. Robot just stole my job.
All right, guys, can you hear me? I'll get better eventually. I do this like twice a week. Anyway, all right. So it's been a fun day. I just had to readjust a couple of things here. So portfolio wise, I sold a couple of Tesla calls. I think I ended up selling 3 or 4. I actually did buy a little bit of PayPal here too. And I bought these things down about 10% on the day, and I sold up about 4% on the day. But then everything got its ass handed to it later. I played the Tesla intro because it's one of the only things up right now outside of Palantir and Meta and maybe Nvidia. So it's been a hell of a day today. Mic is off? No, mic should be on. Oh, you guys got it now. Okay, good. Can you confirm you got it now? You can hear me? Yes, okay. All right. So anyway, down, I'd say like 160K today. Not a great day, but I'm not going to complain, and here's why I'm not going to complain. I am still at what was record highs going into the beginning of this week. So I will take a couple of down days. That doesn't fucking bother me at all. Again, buy the dip where you can. Think long term. A couple of days doesn't matter. And it has been fairly bloody across the board. I actually want to show you guys real quickly here. Miners got smoked today, which I actually think is a blessing. If we get a bump on Tesla early tomorrow, I'll probably be buying more Bitcoin-related investments because you got to realize we are a week away from the Bitcoin conference where we've got some of the biggest players in the world, including a president, and we need to talk about that, actually. Let me jump real quick here. So there's a guy named Dennis Porter. He's a great dude. I'm going to see if I can find this real quick here. He said that Trump is looking to announce that the USA will have Bitcoin as a strategic reserve when the conference comes up here. That is a huge, huge deal. And we asked for clarification, and he said, I'm not kidding. And this is why this matters. Dennis literally has dedicated his life for years to talking to politicians all over Washington, D.C. and around, at the state level, all over the United States. So this guy is as clued in from a political level within the Bitcoin spectrum as just about anybody can be. And he's telling us that there's going to be an announcement that Trump will say that he's going to make it the reserve currency for or a reserve currency. I shouldn't say the a reserve currency for the United States, and that is such a huge flippin' deal. Why are miners down today? Justin says, "What's up with the miners, Jesse?" And multiple forms of caps. Interesting. You did get my attention though, so maybe it's effective. I don't know, man. They went down. So you got to realize. That even though Bitcoin only went down 0.81% today, the miners have been running. Everybody's been really happy about the miners going up, right? It's been a great thing. Like let's look at Cypher. That's probably a great one. So here is Cypher Mining Company. Now, sure, did it get its ass handed to it at the $8 range and now it's down to $6? Yes, you could say that. But it also established a very strong breakout after multiple attempts going higher. And once Bitcoin rips, this thing has already signaled to you that it is going. Oh, you're kidding. Okay. Well, whatever. It's a good talking point. But this thing has already signaled to you that it's capable of what it just did, which is a 33% run higher. It is capable of doing that overnight. And it will the second Bitcoin takes off. And with this conference coming, we know that the chance of Bitcoin taking off, if that announcement is made, it is going to be fucking huge. Huge. And miners have a multiple. Like I've said multiple times, 2 to 4x the underlying asset. The underlying asset is Bitcoin. So if you like the idea of making 2 to 4 times what Bitcoin can do, and I'd say Bitcoin could very easily go up 200% in a little over a year, in about the next 15 months, and you like, to know that you can multiply that times 2 to 4x for a potential 800% return, then I would say miners are a no-brainer, and you gotta be loading the boat and taking advantage of this while the opportunity affords you. You really should. So let me jump back over here real quick. So I think I got the portfolio. I probably should still. Let me see here if I got economy. Yeah, we're gonna switch these around. I do want to go over economic data first, so we're gonna do that. But before we get that far, I want to show you what the heat map looks like because it is hideous. All right, so if you were NVIDIA, Meta, and who's this one over here? What is that? Abgo. Then you were up today. Just about everything else was beat red. And this is actually across multiple indices too. Let's look at crypto. Crypto down. Look, Solana up 1%. Solana continues to be a rock star and outperforming. We will look at that chart here in a second. Actually, real quick, I'm probably going to do it now. Give me 1 second. So I just want to point out Solana, this chart right here screams to go higher. We're in a breakout zone. If I just draw this roughly, even if I gotta probably actually draw it down here, but let me see. I'll get it on the daily time frame so we can get a better image of reality. Okay, so maybe we're not there yet. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because we're getting there really soon. Actually, probably what we need to do is get you up a little bit. Pull you down a hair. There we go. Let me lock that baby in. All right, so we're right at the breakout zone for Solana, and I would argue that we're going to be doing that very, very soon. And the strength it's showing when the rest of the crypto market is down is telling for sure. So, again, these are just things where, yeah, there's some nuance here, and you got to pay attention to what's going on. But when you see, and I've been saying this for a while, that altcoins will outperform, shitcoins will outperform Bitcoin. Today, Bitcoin's down 0.8%. Miners are down double digits. What do we see? We see Ethereum up 0.51% because of a potential of an ETF this week. I don't know, this week or next week. I've got to check in on it. I don't know what's going on with the status. Haven't heard much. And then Solana's up 1%. So again, you could still see that there's some altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin, and the BTC dominance probably reflects that too. Let me actually see. 1 sec here. Let me jump over here. Actually, I'll do it outside of the heat map. I'll do it later. Let's go through the indices real quick. I don't want to go too deep. All right, so the S&P. I told you it was probably going to reject at the 618. It did. What I did not realize is that it would bring down the NASDAQ and the Russell with it, and that's what's been happening. So S&P 0.78% down today. If we look over here at the NASDAQ, it was down 0.48%. So the S&P actually took it on the chin more than the NASDAQ did. The NASDAQ actually had a little bit of a bounce. If you look here at the 4-hour, you can see where it started to bounce later into the day. So it showed a little bit of resilience. Now, the Russell, the small caps, they actually took the biggest hit today, but that's okay because the Russell has been climbing hard all of this week. So the fact that it got a little bit of a hit is not a big deal. This is just a breather. We're going to look at economic data in a second. That's where we go next for people that might be new here. We're going to be looking at economic data, and all of it looks brilliant across the board. It really does. But let's go through a few other things real quick here. Let's look at the dollar. The dollar gained a little bit of strength. Again, I've been saying for a while, I think we're just going to chop. I haven't changed that stance. Gold. Gold went down 0.63% today, like a lot of things. It's actually been running all right, though, recently. So you could see some people jump into it, and we're sitting at 27%. But that's a 27% return over 13 years, so I can't give it too much credit. Oil's rolling over today. It's actually sitting on the 100 moving average on the daily. It looks like it wants to break down. The next move on this would be under $80. So we could be in the 70s on oil. That will drag down gas prices too, as oil hasn't really done much in a while. And I don't see any reason for it to outside of war. The MOVE index. So we got the bond volatility index. Here's something I want to point out today. It didn't do anything. So normally, if let's say that markets are really crazy, you should see some movement in the bond volatility index. You should see people moving to bonds as a safe haven for whatever's going on in the stock market, and we just don't see that, at least not based on the bond volatility index. The VIX has been something else. It's actually been chugging along. We should actually, maybe I'll pull that up real quick. I don't actually have that on my little stream deck, but I'll have to add it. So the VIX has actually been climbing up here and been gaining a little bit of strength. So we need to watch this. We do have a divergence down here that's been building for a while, going back to 2021. Well, this is the monthly time frame, so it's a long one. It's probably not the best to look at. But you can see similar patterns. If you disregard the lines, you can see similar patterns starting to form here going back December 2023. So we could, again, maybe this is it. Maybe it goes higher. Maybe we run into tomorrow and finish off the week low and then bounce back up on Monday. I don't know. But I'm not worried about this at all. What's happening in markets right now, the bond market does not seem to be reflecting any concern. All right, the 2-year. I've said this for a while, but I think the 2-year is getting ready to roll over. We could see it breaking down out of an ascending wedge, and we can see that it's already tried to test the breakdown. So I think we're going to continue to see the rate on this drop as the 2-year weakens, at least here as far as the rates go. The inversion, let's see if we're getting closer to uninverting. Well, we got a little bit of steam today, but I think this will probably just flatten out going into tomorrow like it's been doing. It's been hitting the resistance over here on the other, peak lows, and when the inversion occurred in the 80s, when it occurred at the dot-com bubble, and when it occurred in 2007 before the GFC. So we've been under here for a long time. I think we're going to continue to stay here for a while. Yen. The Japanese yen, actually, it looks like the dollar gained strength against that today. So it's done all right recently, though. If you look here, we were at 162, we're at 157. So it's still sitting in a decent spot with intervention from Japan. We don't always know what they're intervening with right away, but they are intervening. And then I believe I've got a note in here, too, about China providing $100 billion in liquidity. So we'll probably pull that up in a second, too. But we can actually see the yuan gaining the smallest inkling, 0.01% against the dollar. So nothing too crazy there. Russian ruble. Has Russia collapsed? Nope, not yet. Put-call ratio. What are we looking at? Is everybody buying puts? Nope, nobody's buying puts. Okay. So let's move over here real quick, and I want to look at some fundamentals. So we're going to look at U.S. economic data. I threw this election result in here because I thought it was important. So if you look here, this number is crazy to me. There's almost 3,000 votes already. I asked people to spread this out. I've only recently started to lean more towards the right as Trump started to move towards Bitcoin, as he started to do a better job of acknowledging Elon Musk versus Biden, who never really has. And just again, as he started to change affiliation. So I think my group, I mean, there's going to be, there's people that invest, I think are going to lean towards the right. So maybe there's a bias of like 2-to-1 of Republicans versus Democrats in here. I don't know. Maybe that's the next poll I need to do is figure out what people's political affiliation is and see what I can get for results to try and mesh some of this out. But the number's damning either way. And I'm throwing this up here because normally people will say, oh, don't worry about who's president. The market's going to do good or bad. And that's true. Like it's just gonna do its thing most of the time, regardless of who the president is. But there's going to be sectors that outperform and underperform potentially drastically, depending upon who's elected into power. And we know Trump is pro lowering taxes, right? We know he's pro lowering taxes for corporations, probably for individuals too, at least in regard to capital gains. We know Biden was openly talking about raising capital gains taxes to the 40% realm. For some of the top earners and increasing taxes. I think he's backed away from all of that. We know he was pro CBDC for Biden too, or at least the way he was working with the people around him. How much he's actually in charge, I have no idea. Pro CBDC, anti-Bitcoin. Now, people were making comments about how Trump used to be anti-Bitcoin 4 years ago. He was attacking it, and those are all true statements. Those were true. I was pro-Biden back then and anti-Trump because I thought Biden was going to be better for crypto and less, antagonistic against it, and that he would be better for Tesla. I was wrong about all those things. I was wrong about Gary Gensler being beneficial to Bitcoin. Biden didn't do any of those things. He wasn't a centrist. He wasn't who I thought he was going to be, or who he said he was, or leaned towards. And then Trump has turned into that guy. And so what I'm trying to say is, I don't care about what your politics are, but you need to pay attention to this poll because I think it's at least decently reflective. Because I did this because I saw a bunch of other people doing polls. Some of them were liberal Democrats. I'll see if I can find those. Maybe I can post them on the next market recap. But they didn't look good either. And then I saw something on MSNBC talking about how Trump had lost 31, there was a 31-point drop with black women towards voting for Biden. These are huge. This is a huge shift. So here's what I'm trying to say. And almost 70% of people, of 2,900 people that have looked at this and voted, said that they would vote for Trump. And 7.1% said Biden. Almost 3x as many people said they don't give a fuck. So this is not good for the Democratic Party. Trump has like a shoe-in. First off, they try and assassinate you. Your chance of going to the presidency is pretty high, let alone the way everything is lining up. I think there's just a massive social shift that we're seeing, and you could see it in the data when you look at mainstream media and you see how well they're performing. They're not. And you see how X and things like this are growing. And so we need to account for our investment thesis, the fact that we're going to be looking at a president that's going to be pro-Bitcoin, most likely, pro-capitalism, lower taxes, and that he's going to be pro-Tesla because Elon has been very positive towards him, and Trump says a lot of good things about him too. And we'll watch a video of some of that later. But I put this in here for U.S. economy because this will be a key driver of what the market is looking at for the future. So people have to realize that the market's forward-looking. It will look 3-6 months, I wouldn't say a year, maybe 9 months out, and make decisions about where the market should be as far as pricing based upon that future. Okay? Biden will be out by the end of the week. You're probably right. I don't know if it matters, though. I don't know who's going to want to run against him. Think about this. This other guy almost got assassinated. His party is invigorated. There's a bunch of people like me that are Elon Musk wannabe followers that just love this guy, that are centrists, that are pro-science, that are pro-technology, pro-capitalism, and, I don't know about the capitalism for all of them, but anybody who's pro-science, anybody who loves Tesla, SpaceX, all these things, they're going with Elon. So I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters who they put up. They're done. And who would want to be up in front of that? Who would want to be up in front of that? Politically, I wouldn't. If I had a future in the Democratic Party, I would be like, pass. Yeah, no. Kamala Harris, she's very capable. She was just talking about it last week. You should go for her. That would be what I would say because I wouldn't want to get royally fucked for the next 6 months. 5 months. That's my take on it. So I don't think it matters. So I think this is pretty much a shoe-in, and I think what it means is it means that the direction of the economy is going to be headed a certain way. It's going to have incentives, maybe not for EVs in the future, but I've already told you why that doesn't matter much for Tesla. But some of those could go away. The JD Vance or whatever was talking about an actual incentive for gas cars and taking away the EV one and then putting one on gas so that we make more gas cars here. I hope to God that doesn't end up happening. And I know that he also praises Elon Musk all the time. I'm sure there's going to be a nice balance. But as I've said before, I think Tesla gets fucked in all this. Or not Tesla. Tesla comes out clean. Legacy Auto gets fucked in all of this. Because Legacy Auto, they're the people that are stepping away. They're the people that started to gain market share and now are tiptoeing away. And they're the people that, the Cybertruck just had, it was the best-selling EV it was the best-selling truck over $100,000. It was the best-selling EV by far. It beat the Rivian R1 and the Ford F-150 EV combined in total. So Tesla is growing. Tesla is getting bigger. Legacy is dying. Legacy can't sell their shit on used car markets, especially their EVs, because nobody wants them. The people that are serious and look at EVs go, holy shit, how much can you get a Model 3 Performance for? Yeah, I'll take that. So this only ends up benefiting Tesla. We're going to see benefits in Bitcoin, especially if it turns to a reserve asset. If you're not thinking about these things with your financial thesis, and the fact that this is by far the highest probability outcome in the next year, then you're doing a disservice to your investment portfolio. You might want to hand it over to somebody else. Anyway, that's a long talking point on one slide. Let's move on. Carl Cantanilla said refi applications hit the highest level since August of 2022. That's actually an interesting factoid. I don't know if I put it on here. I'll try and find it here in a second. But I was having a conversation, too, with somebody else who's a CNBC contributor. Let me go back here. I'll see if I can find it. It's real close up the chain. Sorry, I'm not more prepared. Thought I had it in here, but I've complained multiple times. I utterly hate the way that X does its bookmarks. It's a nightmare. Where is this thing? Maybe I don't have the slide. Whatever. We'll go back to the other one. One second here. Sorry about that. I'll try and find it, and then we'll talk about it. But essentially, it was talking about how the bond market might benefit from the refi ramp that we're already seeing. I can probably just talk through it without having the message. So they were talking about how the bond market might benefit, and so as bonds benefit, stocks could get hurt. Because they were talking about it happening at an aggressive pace. I actually don't think that that's what's going to happen. I think people are going to be reluctant to lock in duration in bonds after the worst rout in hundreds of years. I don't think people are immediately going like, oh, hey, I should go to bonds. They're a safe haven asset. I think they're more worried about the government's ability to be able to repay their debts, especially as indebted as we've come over the last two presidencies, which is a huge number. Again, you got to remember 40% of the money that's ever been printed was printed in the last 4 years. That's the entire history of the country. So we're pretty indebted. And so I would say that the bond market doesn't do that well right away. And then the contributor, right here, actually, it's Samantha. So I missed it. So anyway, there's this conversation going back between Samantha on her take on the refis and then David Levinson talking about, like I said, how the bond market was going to do well. She kind of agreed with them over here and said, yeah, it could do good, and that could hurt stocks, that could hurt, all this other stuff, any risk on assets. And I said, this assumes that most people aren't wary of government's ability to repay its debts. Some will take the leap for sure, but a lot of people aren't jumping into bonds in a big way for a while after getting royally screwed from a multi-century route. And Samantha said no arguments, but end of year 2025 might look different. I actually 100% agree with that. Samantha's actually a really smart lady too, and she contributes on Bloomberg, CNBC, Yahoo Finance, all these other places, and she knows what she's talking about, and I was glad to hear that she actually agreed with me on that take. So it reassures my timeline, which I've been saying for a while, is the same as Capital Wars, Michael Howell, where he's talking about global liquidity kind of drying up at the beginning of 2016, end of 2025. we're kind of seeing the same thing from smart people, including myself, who believe that that same thing's going to happen. All right. U.S. economy, Mark, I think you're great. Okay, so this is interesting. So this is talking about why Elon Musk had left, or is leaving, having X and SpaceX leave San Francisco. And so Mark Benioff was talking about, for making an argument. I'm not going to go into it because Elon's was way better. It says, Mark, I think you're great and had the best of intentions, but the crazy gross receipts city tax that you supported makes it impossible for financial companies to operate in San Francisco. That's why Stripe, Block, Visa, and many others were forced out of the city, as gross receipts came to be defined as all transactions processed by a company, even if not revenue. That meant companies processing payments either had to leave San Francisco or die. And they're trying to ramp up with X as a payment processor, right? So one of the points I want to make here, well, first off, I just cover everything Elon. That's what you get on this channel. But secondly, taxes are destructive. I used to have a different opinion of these. I used to be like, oh, taxes are okay. We need taxes. It's how we do all the stuff. It's actually bullshit. We could just wipe out taxes. We print money like fucking crazy. That's taxes too, because it steals from you. It lessens your purchasing power. So we don't actually need taxes. To me, you could just abolish the IRS, and then you could inflate at whatever number you can get away with without destroying the economy, at least while you switch over to Bitcoin, because we're going to destroy it no matter what anyway. We're too indebted not to. So the whole concept of taxes, I don't really love much anymore. I will pay my taxes because I don't want the tax man coming for me, and everybody should. But should we have them? Should they be lowered? Will lowering them, like, let's not talk about abolishing the IRS. Let's just keep it simple. Let's say, should they be lowered in order to support business growth at a time where we're starting to see inflation completely plummet off a cliff and turn into deflation? Yes, you should fucking do that. If you start taxing the shit out of people and corporations, you will create a downward spiral that will cause untold pain and suffering across the United States and the world. So yes, I agree with Elon Musk's move to leave San Francisco to avoid exorbitant taxes run by a shitty government who has their hands in way too many fucking pots, and now evidently trying to control what parents can find out for information about their own fucking kids. Sorry, I'm going to get more political as the next 5 months go by. If you don't like that, go somewhere else. But yeah, so as we see this play out in places like California and New York that are just falling apart from an economic standpoint. I don't know how much people realize that, but you can't have hundreds of large corporations leave your state in a period of several years and not have dramatic impact from that. You can't. You can't increase the tax burden on the remaining people that haven't run away and not have dramatic impact. And it works that same way on the federal level as it does the state. So, again, back to Trump and Biden. And this is going to be a thing, right? Because these are the politics that are in front of us. This is the future that's in front of us. This is what's going to drive the market for the next 6 months, for the most part. You can't have somebody who wanted to increase taxes for capital gains, somebody who is pro-big government, somebody who is pro-censorship, versus somebody who's trying to open everything up and reduce taxes and make it to where companies can grow at a time where they desperately need to. That's what we need. That's what our economy needs right now. If you want to tax more in the future, don't get me wrong. I believe conservatives are going to hate this part. I believe in universal basic income. I think we're going to need that in the future. Elon Musk feels that way because he's going to build a bunch of fucking robots that steal all of your jobs. So as they start taking jobs, people are going to be like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? So I'm actually somebody who does believe in the future that we'll have higher taxes, but they'll go to companies like Elon, who are going to be the largest on earth and that are literally able to pay higher taxes because they make so much money, because they can print GDP. So that's the world that's coming. And so things will be there eventually, but at this point in time, we need lower taxes, we need growth, we need to stimulate. If you don't like that, I'm sorry, it's just the fucking truth. If it wasn't the truth, I wouldn't be saying it. All right. Capital flows. He put, just notice selling in bonds isn't occurring as the ES selling is occurring. This is a key signal. So he's just simply reiterating what I told you a second ago, which is that we're not seeing this catastrophic move in bonds. 10-year Treasury ticked down, its lowest level in 4 months, but it's orderly. And if you go out over a longer period of time, it does not look crazy. Again, it's about where it was, 4 months ago. 4 months is not a long time. Let me see here. Initial jobless claims. So we're going to go over some more economic data here real quick, and then we're probably going to jump over to Bitcoin and Tesla, and then we'll get to everything else you guys want to talk about. Hot swap coming for president. Oh, fuck yeah. It's not going to matter, though. And they got to find somebody that's willing. So we'll see how that goes. Initial jobless claims came in hotter than expected, but there still isn't much to see here when you look back at the drop or the backdrop from the pandemic or even mid-2023 when the numbers were higher. So all I'm saying here is we're nearing 245. It came in hotter. There's been revisions up. We know all this stuff, right? Like we know how the system works. But we're still not to mid-2023 levels as far as this goes, or even existing job claims. They're just not that bad. So this just isn't a big deal. And again, so my comment from a little bit ago, talking about hundreds of jobs from large employers leaving over a period of 4 years, it was 222 jobs that left. And it sucks. It sucks. California is shitting the bed when it comes to jobs. It is not doing well. New York isn't doing great either for other reasons. There's some of these cities where they've been managed really poorly, and they're falling apart. All right, Seth Golden said, after rising April through May, recession probabilities have retreated through June into July, according to NBER recession measures. So this is just another indicator that's out there. It might have ticked up a little bit. Maybe it's near 0.3 as of today. But it's not. It's just not that high. It's not screaming of pain. Dave Weisberger says the overarching issue with their policies is the belief that the government can effectively set prices. So we're talking about price control. This is based off a comment from Biden talking about if you charge too much, we're going to start setting pricing. Just look at Russia if you want to see how well that goes. Look at China's current economy if you want to see how well that goes. Look at the USSR before it collapsed. Look at Cuba. There's countries. Look at Argentina before they made this recent shift. So for almost 100 years, if you want to see how well price controls work, go back and just look at any place that's done it and see how well it worked out for them. We did some of that too, I think, in the 70s as well, and that didn't help us out much. And then Stephen Mark Ryan's talking about rent controls being a problem too. It's the exact same concept. You can't control pricing in free markets and not have unintended consequences that then create problems that you have to try and modify. And then those can have unintended consequences. And the more you start changing all of this shit artificially without letting it roam freely, the worse and more compounding the consequences get. So we don't need rent controls or any of these other things. Again, to me, this isn't a political issue. This is just fact. All right, let's jump over here real quick. Let's look. There's been a lot of stuff. So we'll start with the recent stuff with today. Again, initial jobless claims ticked up a little bit. Wasn't a big deal. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index is actually looking really good. So if we go back 5 years, we're looking at levels almost that from 2 years ago. Now, everything looked good, pretty much. Business conditions are up dramatically. If we look here, if we go back 5 years again, we're at the highest level we saw since 2021. So business conditions, they're saying in the Philly region, are the best they've seen in 3 years. Seems pretty promising to me. Now, CapEx is down. This is the capital expenditures. This is the money that they spend on machinery, getting better, more efficient, whatever it is, keeping up like with the Joneses, all that stuff that you have to do like in a manufacturing environment or anything like that, right? Just keeping up your equipment and your business and reinvesting in it is a good way to look at it. So that actually ticked down a little bit, was worse than the previous reading. So that was that. The CapEx is probably really the low point. Philly Fed employment jumped a lot if you look here. Highest level since October of 2022. Still very good. Way better compared to what we've been experiencing for, the 2 years almost before. And then new orders actually did really good in this reading. Again, look at these numbers. We're getting this is zero level. This is like this is the level where you're not expanding or contracting, right? But we're finally starting to get above that in a big way, and some of the highest levels again in over 2 years. I know you hate Fubo, but it's been moving. Can you check on it? I can check it. I think it's not a good stock, but I will check it from a technical level. That is cool. So yeah, employment was good. New orders actually ticked up here too. Again, we're looking at levels here, same kind of thing since 2022. This is all showing strength. This is all showing positive. For this region, things look good. Leading index, I don't really care about. It's pretty much flatlined. 30-year mortgage ticked down again, 6.77%. So we are seeing some of what Samantha was talking about, where we're seeing, rates starting to pull down. And I think, I don't know, maybe before the end of the year, they're under 6, in the 5s, mid 5s maybe. I think it's totally possible. I think we could get a couple of rate cuts in this year, maybe 3. So, but I think as long as I've said before, unemployment isn't skyrocketing, and at least initial jobless claims, even continuing claims. Let's look here just to be safe. How crazy are we over the last 3 years? So here it's worse. Here it's worse than initial jobless claims. We've got the highest level since 2021. But this isn't like a crazy high absorbent level. But it does show that people are starting to stay unemployed for longer. So there is some signal of weakness there. But again, with where the unemployment rate is right now, I'm not worried about it. 10-year tips are ticking lower. This is normal, actually. So tips basically kind of track inflation. So people aren't scared about inflation and haven't been since like April 30th. It's just been kind of trending down. So that will continue to happen. Now, the day before yesterday, if you missed any of it, manufacturing production year over year was up. It was a great number. It was one of the highest levels we've seen, I think, since like December 2023, but before that, January 2023. So again, almost 2 years of data, at least over a year and a half. And then industrial production looked really good too, and it was a beat, and it was the highest level, let's see here, since November 2022. So again, almost 2 years. So we're seeing strength across multiple sectors. Capacity utilization was a beat from consensus and forecast. Housing starts were better than forecast and consensus. Building permits were better than forecast and consensus. The purchase index was actually down, but the refi index was going up. So, and mortgage applications are ticking higher by a dramatic amount. So we've actually we're seeing an economy that looks like it's accelerating and getting better. It seems 3 cuts are already priced in. So if only 2 come, no, not necessarily. The cuts are only one part of it. So the cuts are, like, again, there's multiple things that cause weight and price action in the markets. Cuts are part of that, but the others are, what are earnings? What are earnings going to be over the next couple of weeks? If they're fucking great, the economy looks good, and we're going to see a Fed that's going to be cutting rates in the future. Let's jump over here. So let's just refresh this and make sure we have the latest data from the CME. So we see July only a 4.77% chance. So it doesn't look good for July. But September 18th is not that far off. So let's click on that. That's 8 weeks. We've got a 100% chance of 1 cut and 4.6 for 2. So, well, I shouldn't say 100%. There's a 1.9% chance we stay the same. So it's 98 or 99.1%. 98, whatever. You guys get me. So it's really close that we're gonna see at least 1 rate cut coming up here in September, and I think the market's pricing in, yes, 2 to 3, but if the earnings do really well too, things are going up. People aren't going to be like, oh shit, we've already priced in 3 rate cuts and earnings are fucking spectacular. Let's go down. That's just not how it's going to work. All right, fear and greed. We're at neutral in the stock market. 51, pretty much dead center. Crypto is usually a little bit delayed, but it says 61 right now. My guess is it will be in neutral by tomorrow. This is the alternative one. What is it? Alternative.me. It's the best that I've seen for the crypto world, but again, it takes a while to update. So I could see us dropping there too. Now, real quick, let's jump back over to Bitcoin. I want to talk Bitcoin for a second. Let's get in it. Let's see here. So, let me see. Oh, this is a question about BlackRock. I get this all the time. So I think there's a lot of conservatives that don't like Larry Fink because they've seen a lot of posts on X about like WEF, the World Economic Forum. They've seen Larry Fink and BlackRock's always the bad guy because BlackRock owns everything. So to be clear, BlackRock is very powerful, but almost all the assets that you're looking at are fund-related assets where they're people that own these, okay? Just like any fund, but they choose BlackRock because BlackRock wins. So here's my point. I know that BlackRock was ESG. I know they were DEI. I know there were things that you guys might not like on the right, but it doesn't fucking matter because I don't hear them pushing those funds at all. And I hear them pushing Bitcoin. And again, these guys try to be early for markets and figure out where the future is. And Larry has told us Bitcoin is digital gold 2.0. He believes that. They have the fastest growth. They are the largest Bitcoin fund outside of MicroStrategy, right? Are they bigger than Micro? I don't know. I got to look. But they're the largest fund out there. And they'll continue to be the largest fund because they try to look towards the future. And again, I don't think Larry Fink is faking the fact that he thinks that it's better than gold. I think he very much believes that. And so people ask me all the time, am I worried about like what this means and that BlackRock might be trying to manipulate the market? No, I don't fucking think so. I think they love money. And Bitcoin is going to be very much needed in the future, at least over the next year, until we see some kind of bubble and then maybe a drop in global liquidity. But until that happens, these guys like to make money too, and they'll be looking towards the next thing and advising their people for that as well, or in advance. But I'm not worried about BlackRock. I actually think it's really beneficial. I mean, they join the stages of evolution of technologies and changes. I mean, we're at the they join you phase, and then they die. Okay, so we're nearing the end of this whole cycle, and I wouldn't worry about it. BlackRock wants to make money. All these people do. All right, here's one thing I wanted to talk about. Mark Cuban was shitting on Elon Musk. We're going to ignore that part because it's political, and I've already been political enough. But this is Mark Cuban talking about Bitcoin. Now, don't get me, to be clear, back at this time, this was last cycle, and back at this time, right before this, he was kind of promoting shitcoins and stuff, and then things started to go south, and this is closer to the bear market. And this was his view on Bitcoin. It was not a very positive one, but I want you to hear it because now the new Mark Cuban thinks that Bitcoin could be what countries and all of us look to buy as a means to protect our savings. Then BTC becomes exactly what the Maxis envision a global currency. But what the whole point is, he actually thinks that Bitcoin is the bee's knees right now and that it could save our wealth. So this is what he had to say almost 4 years ago. This is what he had to say. That's what I had to say. A little over 4 years ago, actually. Check it out.
Doom, if you're really into providing opportunity for people to grow their net worth, why the hate for crypto? ICO is the new IPO. Here's the thing about crypto, particularly Bitcoin. Bitcoin is worth what somebody will pay for it. Did you ever see someone who collected baseball cards? And they were really, really, really proud of their baseball cards because they kept on saying they were going to go up in price. Comic books, same thing, even artwork. There's no real intrinsic value. You can't eat a baseball card or shouldn't eat a baseball card. Your artwork might look good on the wall.
Don't eat a baseball card. I mean, you can get some fiber, but it's not the right kind.
But not much you can do with it. Bitcoin, there's even less you can do with it. At least I can look at my baseball card and go, ooh, that's
You can't even look at Bitcoin.
my favorite player. That's Roberto Clemente. I can look at artwork and go, wow. Crypto is the key that is so complicated for 99% of the population. Do you put it in a device? Do you print it out? How do you keep from being hacked? Who's going to host
Sounds like such a fucking boomer, but we're going to keep going.
it for you? It's just so difficult that it's only worth what somebody will pay for it. So I say it's like gold. Gold's a religion. Now, people who are really into gold, they'll tell you that there's a bad depression and things go to hell in a...
All right, anyway. So as you can see, Mark Cuban was not very fond of Bitcoin, but now, can anyone hear that Mark Cuban's audio, was it low? I fucking hate that. I hate that X is lower. Bums me out. I'll have to mute next time and see if I can fix it. Anyway, I'm not going to play it again. The whole point is that Mark Cuban called it basically baseball cards. He called it artwork. He said that it's only as valuable as what people are willing to pay you for. He basically called it the greater fool theory, and he almost accused gold of being the same thing kind of at the end, because he talks about that too. He says, oh, it's just like a cult, kind of like people will tell you the end of the world's coming and you need to own it. So his stance now is that it could save your wealth. So this is what happens in 4 years when somebody starts to get that that Bitcoin is real. It's not a baseball card, evidently. So, and what's funny about this is, Michael Saylor probably started to realize about, Bitcoin's value around this time too. And Trump wanted to ban it. He wanted to get rid of it. He hated Bitcoin, hated it. So some powerful people have really changed their minds. And this isn't even including Michael Dell and all these others. Hey, thanks, RJ, for gifting the 10 memberships, man. You're a stud. Click on that if you want a free one for a month, guys, and then you can comment. But yeah, so a lot of smart people have started to figure out what Bitcoin really is, and they're completely changing their opinion from thinking it's a fucking Ponzi scheme to basically saying it can save you. So I just think that's interesting and wanted to talk to it. Bitcoin Munger, one of my favorite meme X profiles, said MicroStrategy monthly chart looks sexy AF. He goes, price consolidating for the last 4 months above previous resistance. MACD bullish momentum still rising. RSI ready to accelerate. Stotch, RSI about to cross bullishly. So he's right. This is all gorgeous. From a technical level, this is gorgeous. Today, it's down. If we actually look over here, it's probably underneath the levels he's talking about, and I probably need to draw these lines out. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, and they're not even down that much, actually. Looking at it, they're not really down that much. But it doesn't matter because this is a beautiful technical setup, and we know where it's going next, and it's going up, and Bitcoin looks just like it. Again, 7 days to the conference. That's going to be huge. I don't even think people have really started to buy into that yet. I don't think they are, especially if this is true, that we're going to talk about this being a strategic reserve asset when Trump becomes president. Now, from a technical level, too, on the chart, since we look at MicroStrategy, let's look at Bitcoin. This is a thing of artwork and beauty. This is the previous cycle. The cycles happen every 4 years, like clockwork. This is the previous cycle. This one got neutered and turned to a double top. First double top in Bitcoin's history on a cycle time frame. And it probably would have went up to here. Probably would have gotten up into the $92,000 range if the Fed wouldn't have raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. But they did. But the thing that's beautiful is, look at this. Look at this. When we look at the monthly time frame, look at how well we're respecting this line through here. And look at how much we wicked up on the monthly time frame. This chart looks beautiful. I got to turn this down. People are messaging me like crazy for some reason. I'm just going to throw my phone away. Here, we're just going to throw it in another room. There we go. Now we're good. If anybody's dying, I'm sure they'll come to me. But this is beautiful. And so what I was posting in here is that our next stop on Bitcoin is 92,000. So from today, that's about 40%. I think with the miners, again, 2 to 4x. So if you like the idea of a potential 160% on maybe a cipher mining return that could happen in the next month or two, I think you got to be in Bitcoin. I think you'd be crazy not to. Cointelegraph. They're talking about Bitcoin miner balances changed by about 500 Bitcoin weekly. But exchanges and ETFs can now shift around 4,000 BTC each week. That's 4 to 8 times more market influence than miners. So what they're saying here is, so we have, with Bitcoin, we know there's a certain amount that have to be sold, right? So we know that miners before, up until maybe just this last cycle, and now this cycle definitely, had controlling market share on price action. When they dumped, the price really got down. There's other factors that could play in too, but they had a lot of control over the price of Bitcoin and whether it dumped. What they're saying here now is that it's not in the control of the miners anymore. It's in control of the ETFs because the flow is so much greater than that of miners. Now, the miners can still have impact over time, but it's just interesting that we have other drivers of the market that have to be factored in when we're thinking about our thesis of each cycle. So just something to remember, something I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on. Vivek, he said, 7 trillion, world's largest bank. This is the ICBC in China. People think that the U.S. banks are the biggest. They're not anymore. So, but I would argue that these guys aren't either because they're really fucked. But we won't go into all that. But they say Bitcoin is much better than gold. And their comments are much more thorough than this, and they've been saying it for the last several weeks. But they're basically saying that it is a better version than gold, and that and that this is something that more people should be holding, including their government. So they're trying to push for it, which is why Donald Trump, I think, is arguing that America needs to be leading in it, because we do need that, and we are right now. We totally are. We have a couple of cycles ago, China was the largest hash rate. In 2017, China dominated the Bitcoin network. They had like 80% of the hash. Now they're much lower, and the United States and Western countries control 2/3 of it. So we're doing really good now, and we need to keep it that way. And that's just the hash. There's other aspects, obviously, too, but we need to keep the lead. And so I think, again, we're going to see that. These guys are going to start to catch up. They already made a mistake. The Chinese made a mistake. When the world went to the gold standard, they went to silver, and that fucked them and left them poor and starving. They don't want to make that mistake again. So I think, despite the fact that they want to have complete and utter government control over digital currencies. They want only their CBDC, their digital yuan, to be in power. They don't want safe haven asset like people running to Bitcoin, but they do want Bitcoin money. So I do think that they'll at least create some paper versions of Bitcoin and make it legal. I think that could happen. I think that could happen in the next year. I think they could make it legal, at least for like some way for wealthy people to store some of their wealth in it, just as a backup, because they're afraid that they could be destroying their country. So by not giving it Bitcoin and allowing the world to switch to it again, they don't want a silver gold moment. They don't want that to happen again. At least if they're smart. And so I think that out of desperation, they will end up looking to adopt a Bitcoin standard, especially if the U.S. starts putting it as a reserve. If they don't, they're just making the same mistake, and it will ruin them for decades, if not a century or more. Quentin posted, just a reminder, the biggest institutions cannot yet buy the Bitcoin ETFs. No, I don't know how many people are talking about this, but soon Morgan Stanley will allow 15,000 brokers to recommend Bitcoin ETFs to their clients. 15,000 brokers with all these small accounts, where the mom and pop shops, all these mid-sized companies, all these individuals, all these brokers are going to start switching their tune, just like Larry Fink, just like fucking China, just like Donald Trump, and they're all going to be backing it. And if you're not paying attention to that, you're going to miss out. David Bailey. China thought that if they waited long enough, America would collapse under its financial negligence. That's probably true. The U.S. dollar would be replaced by the renminbi, basically the digital yuan, right? Think of it that way. To keep it simple. They go by different names. Yeah, I won't go into those details. Just keep it simple. It was a good plan. He put until Bitcoin emerged. Now we're disrupting ourselves and reset. I would say until Bitcoin and artificial intelligence and Tesla emerged, and now Trump, in our reaching towards Bitcoin, like all these things are lining up. We're disrupting ourselves and resetting our monetary chessboard. Yes, we could be. I don't think we're there yet. I think we need to be, but we're resetting our monetary chessboard and making it to where we're not gonna collapse. That's the fucking thing that China and Russia didn't count on. He said we've played our Trump card. That's kind of funny, because I think he was attesting to this, which is a Bitcoin Magazine article saying President Donald Trump says the U.S. must embrace Bitcoin and crypto to compete on the world stage. China is into it. It's not going away. He said a lot more than that. I think I might have some of those here. Anyway, he's also indicated, it says, so we got Donald Trump, we've got Larry Fink on board, we've got Jamie Dimon, possibly being included in government under Donald Trump, and possibly softening. I haven't heard it from his fucking mouth. And Jamie has shit on Bitcoin for as long as I can remember. At least early 2017. At least that long, maybe longer. So, literally, yeah. So it'll be interesting. If he flips too, man, if he flips and you got 15,000 brokers telling people about Bitcoin, and you got China trying to save their economy, and the rest of the world, holy shit, during an expansion of the monetary base, while we all print money. I need to pull up a China thing too that shows like 100 billion being printed. We'll get to that in a second. But Marty Party here says, huge Bitcoin spot buys on all exchanges, just showing how volume is getting weird. And we're going to see more and more of that here soon, too. And these are over some longer time frames. Breaking. Trump says he doesn't want to let China... Yep, so here's the... Doesn't want to let another country take over with Bitcoin and crypto. Evidently... Oh, this is political. But I will say this. I said, this is why I love Bitcoin so much, because the only figurehead for it is already dead. I only got 40 likes on this. But I think people should like it. Because Vitalik is basically indicating in his own words, from my interpretation, that he does not like Donald Trump, and that he doesn't want us picking our political affiliation based upon somebody saying they're pro-Bitcoin. I'm sorry. I'm going to. I'm going to. When I look at the two presidents and I look at the way that we've been hostile towards crypto and Bitcoin, and then somebody saying that they're not going to be and they might have it as a reserve asset, I'm going to look at it that way. But irregardless of his comment, my whole point is Bitcoin doesn't have that. Bitcoin doesn't have a person that all of a sudden alienates half of its base because they make a decision. Because Bitcoin is just a bunch of fucking people with a bunch of different opinions. Some of them, I found out, libertarian socialists. That's a cool new one. I'd never heard of that before. I didn't know you could be a socialist and a libertarian. I didn't know that you could believe in ownership with Bitcoin, but not people owning things. But anyway, there's a bunch of different people out there with different views. There's liberal people, there's libertarian socialists, there's conservatives. There's a lot of people who don't give a fuck. They see that Bitcoin is a way of getting them out of poverty or helping improve their lifestyle or just saving them from destruction. So, and there's nobody pissing them off and making them all go away. Like I do that sometimes. I post a bunch of shit on X and I make people angry. They leave. But you know what? There is none of that with Bitcoin. There is nobody to do that. Everybody can look at it and they can figure out their version of it that makes sense to them. And they don't get offended by it. They support it. And as they make money, they become dedicated to it. All right. So what is this? Does this give us any more? Donald Trump told Bloomberg, I need to find this video. Jamie Dimon was, very negative, and now all of a sudden he's changed his tune a little bit. I don't know what that means. Hopefully we get more than that. All right. Let me see here. We're going to jump real quickly over to Tesla, and then I'll start getting caught up on comments, guys. Sorry, I've not been there yet. Let's look real quickly at Tesla inventories, and then I want to jump into some of the great stuff happening at Tesla. Inventories, we're seeing a spike in the Y. Others are doing all right. We're seeing kind of a flattening off of the Model S and the X, kind of arguably on the 3 too. The Y, I don't know. Are people going to start waiting for Juniper? I don't know. But inventories aren't crazy different than they were, in April of 2024 or of September of 2023. So this is nothing. This is nothing compared to other companies. 18,000 for a company building cars all over the world is just nothing. All right. So somebody was talking about Elon Musk talking at the Republican National Convention. That's not happening. I have posted something here that says we're getting ready to bounce. So don't say you didn't have a chance. I guess you still have a chance because we're still down here. What are we at right now? Let's look. Tesla. We're at 240, 250, 250.65. I guess you don't have that much of a chance. Really. You don't have that much of a chance. Because we did it, guys. We did it. This thing already broke out from a trend that started in November of 2021, okay? This trend started, almost 1,000 days ago? 1,000 days, right? Over 2.5 years. And we broke out above it. And I have now will be turning it into support. I have no doubt by the end of this week. Worst case, it goes down here and touches at 235, and then next Monday we're back above this, and we never print underneath of it again. It's one of those two. So, I don't know. I don't think a couple days is enough. Personally, I don't think like Friday and Monday are enough to be like, oh, hey, I guess I'll just dick around here and not buy any Tesla for a while. I would buy it at these levels. That's me. You do you. But I think it would be stupid to look at the move that's occurred and to think that it's over after breaking through for the first time in almost 3 years. You don't have any more liquidity. Hey, I'm in the same boat. I mean, I was selling some today because it was up, and then buying some other things that were down 10%. But again, I don't have as much cash as I would like. Hindsight is always 20/20. Things are always going to go higher and lower than what you think they're going to do. But the important thing is to just be a part of it. Be a part of the big moves. That's how I got 700% last year. That's why even now I'm at it was a record high before Monday. I'm still really fucking happy. I'm sitting at like $3.3 million or some shit. So I'm not upset about the last 2 days because it's been a hell of a lot of good days. Look at this shit. So all I'm saying is keep things in perspective, have a long-term view, understand that Tesla is one of the greatest companies on earth. And you got 2 days, in my opinion, potentially for this before we go higher. Maybe I'm wrong. I doubt it. You guys can make fun of me if I am. All right, Herbert Ung. Okay, so a couple things. A lot of good stuff for Tesla. I think that's why it fared so well today. Tesla confirms completion of Shanghai Megafactory by 2025. The Shanghai Megafactory would be Tesla's first energy storage battery factory outside the U.S. Production at the Megafactory is scheduled to start in Q1 of 2025. China desperately needs these, so do other countries around the world. This is going to allow them to produce even more. It should be able to increase capacity dramatically. As long as we don't have a war with China in the next 1.5 years, which I don't think we will, at least not in that time frame and not for the next year, then we're going to see Tesla just expanding like crazy into the energy sector and getting tons of megapacks out. And on that note, but let's read this out. Once operational, the Megafactory will produce up to 10,000 megapacks a year. That is an insane fucking number. Look at these megapacks. Look at these things. Look at this. 10,000 a year. The Megafactory's construction progress is proceeding rapidly. China builds shit really, really quick. China is a tour de force when it comes to being able to spin stuff up. Not always in the greatest, but Tesla has the best and finest that China has to offer, and they have 4x the population of the United States of America. So there are some brilliant fucking people there. Most of them are at Tesla. So this is huge, and this is also huge for another reason. So we've got this massive expansion coming, and then we have this news that says that this company, Intersect Power, has signed a contract for another 15.3 gigawatt hours of Tesla Megapacks for their solar and storage project portfolio through 2030. So this is a $3 billion addition to their contract. Tesla has deployed already 9.4 gigawatt hours of energy storage products in Q2 of this year. This is another 15.3. So this is like almost 5 months of current output that they got in just one contract. It's a big contract, and energy is going to grow a lot. And I've shown you some of the graphs of the energy sector, and it's huge. Now, Tesla again, Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, said, "We're proud Elon calls Texas." He goes, "There is no greater entrepreneur in the entire world than Elon Musk. We are so proud," he calls Texas home. The largest, I don't even know, one of the largest employers in the state. And SpaceX, I believe, is the largest private employer. There's just you got to realize the right is leaning towards Elon Musk in a big way at a time when it looks like they're going to gain massive political control. This should not be ignored. Again, market expectations, you were saying earlier about 2 to 3 Fed rate cuts. Yes, they are geared towards that. Let me see. Oh, and so all these horrific crashes, nobody died. I'm going to show you this real quick because I think it needs to be seen. Nobody died. Nobody died here. Nobody died here. Look at this car. Just flipping through the air like a saucer. Nobody died there. Look at these people. Look at the car. Look at the car. Just destroyed. Just destroyed. I don't know if that was the person in it, but nobody died. And that's a fucking miracle. Nobody died. Fell off a cliff. Nobody died. This one, this car got rear-ended at like 70 miles an hour. Nobody died. This one, nobody died. Again, like, and then this is a classic one. You probably read the story about this. This guy tried to murder his entire family, his kids, and his wife. Fell that far. Nobody died. So yeah, Teslas are amazing. I don't think I'd ever have my family in anything else, honestly. Ever. If I can help it, I'm going to get my parents Teslas. They're going to drive, these things are going to drive them around when they're old. I don't know why anybody would own anything else. There's an army of us. And now conservatives, people who don't buy Teslas, are all of a sudden going like, fuck, I'm conflicted. I like Elon Musk now. So it's going to get weird. They might hate the idea of losing their ICE car, but they like Elon. They want to support an American business. Barazad said this a while ago. I don't know if it's in here, but they want, think of how much the narrative might change here in the future. Think about how much the narrative might change. Whoop, I don't know what happened there. How much the narrative might change in the future if the conservative right, on top of people who care about the earth and want to save the planet, because they believe it's like an imminent doom. I don't think it is, but I think over the long haul it would be. But I think trying to tell people that the world's ending in 10 years is just like a play I've heard my entire life. So I don't believe it. But think about what happens when you already have people that are more liberal and that are like science-based or that want to help save the earth. They buy Teslas because it's like the best, most affordable option. And then all of a sudden you get the right starting to warm up to it. This could be a huge narrative. And I think people need to pay attention to it. I think it's what's coming. And again, our entire job in markets is to figure out what the fucking future is. That's it. That's it. That's all you need to do. I know that's all you need to do. But you need to figure out what the biggest themes are and what the likelihood of them happening is. And if you could do that, you can figure out where you can make money. And if you don't understand that Tesla and Bitcoin are that, I feel bad for you because you're going to miss out on a ton of opportunity. But I'm not. And the people here aren't. So anyway, Tesla, cutting for healthier growth. So remember how all the headlines, Tesla firing everybody, coming to an end. The apocalypse is here for EVs. Tesla's laying off a bunch of people. Black Swan, the end. Ooh, it's happening. So Tesla's hiring 800 new people across a bunch of different states because they're doing what Holmar's set up here, which is cutting for healthier growth. They ended areas where they didn't need people and where they felt like they could get rid of them and it wouldn't be a problem. And now they're trying to dedicate new resources to be able to optimize them and make it to where they're the most profitable and efficient they can be. This is why capitalism works. This is what capitalism is. If you don't understand finance, this is fucking it. The government doesn't have this incentive. They don't give a fuck because they just print more money or tax the shit out of people and then say, oh, it's justified. They don't have to balance a budget. They haven't had to do that since like the gold standard in the 70s. And actually, even before that. So they don't have accountability. These guys do. This fucking matters. Moondev, thank you, man. Thanks for the tips. So, yeah, this is all you need to know about finance. And this is all you need to know to understand who to vote for and what capitalism and why it's the greatest form we have right now is because this is how things get better. This is how you build a better fucking product that's more innovative than anything on the planet while reducing the cost of it and changing everyone's fucking lives for the better. You don't get this from Russia. You don't get this from China. You get copies of shit. You get some unique ideas from people that are smart. That's what you get from China, but they have no incentive to do anything because if they get too successful, the CCP might go after them and take their fucking heads. Literally. All right. I'm a little intense today. Sorry about that. All right. Elon Musk. He said that Alex said Tesla should be viewed mainly as a real world AI company. And Elon said yes. That was yesterday. You should listen to him. Tesla's China Model 3 estimated delivery period increases 3 to 5 weeks. Wow, it's taking longer to get your Model 3. Probably no signal whatsoever. Probably a failing company. Their economy is shit, and they're still doing well there. And plus, I mean, there's going to be so much liquidity in China, it doesn't really matter if they're shit for another year, right? Nobody's going to care, even the people there. All right, Sawyer Merritt. 4 years ago this month, Tesla announced it was going to build its next gigafactory in Austin, Texas. Giga Texas was born. Today, Tesla is Austin's largest private employer. Whoa, I didn't know that. Private employer. Elon's companies and the related economic activity they generate has reached over $11 billion a year in economic activity to the state of California and specifically the city of Austin. Isn't that fucking awesome? Palantir, when will it stop? We'll talk about that. Here, you know what? I've got the skip ads thing. I'm going to do that. That way people watching can see. So anyway, we'll get to Palantir though. I think Palantir's toppy, but I've said that for a while and I've been wrong. It's going against the technicals majorly. It's definitely overextended with a forward PE ratio, but they're also doing great things and they're fucking growing. So how long could that happen? Who knows, man? It could hit 50. I mean, it's got Dan Ives behind it now. I could see a bunch of other analysts flipping their fucking targets and doing some stupid shit. And maybe right now with Palantir, this is their Tesla moment. Maybe they do hit 50. Maybe it goes higher. You never know with stocks. Insanity can happen. If global liquidity keeps increasing and we keep on seeing small caps going up, they didn't do it today. But if we keep seeing that, I don't know where Palantir goes. Here's the thing, though. I've got investments that I know can go anywhere from 3 to like 5x, 6x, in some cases 10x on my option plays, right? So if I know I can get that, if I know I can get a 3 to 10x in the next couple of years with asymmetric bets pointed in different directions, does a doubling of Palantir, if it got to 60, does that mean anything to me? Not as much. No calls on Palantir, bro. No, I would never. No, I made $600,000 on Palantir last year, but I wouldn't have calls on something that's run as much as Palantir. Let's just look at it real quick. Then I'll get back to my Tesla points. You guys want to talk about Palantir? We're going to do that. I got to let the chat guide more of it anyway. So first off, we're at this fib level up here. It's a very strong fib level. So let's just turn on this part because I don't give a shit. Let's go here. Let's switch it to like the weekly. That's a better indicator. So first off, we do have a gap. We got a gap up here at the 31-ish range. I can see us getting there for sure. But then we have this just big long wick of no volume. Now, we could go back up to 45.50. Again, just testing up. I would be, if you got to 50, if you got to 45, I would lower my holdings probably a decent amount, honestly. There's just too many other asymmetric bets for this one. And I don't say that just based on the technicals. Again, so this thing, if it goes up to that 50 target, what are we at? Yeah, so 74%. That's a decent run, right? Like, that's not bad. But look at this here. Look at this here. How far have we went? How far have we went since I told people to buy? Well, I told people to buy, actually, I told people to buy right here. So this is a lie. 730, right around there. So let me bring this up. So we'll bring it up to when I told people to buy. So you're up 290%. And less than a year or about a year? Less than a year? No, about a year. A little over a year. 13 months. But 290%, like that's pretty good. If you didn't have options, right? I got out over here. We got to the dot 618. I got the fuck out. We traded here for like ever, right? We traded here for since May of 2023 to February of 2024. So we just did fucking nothing. Now, when this broke up here, you'd think, I mean, look at the power and the thrust behind it. It just said, I don't give a fuck. And then it started trending up here, and then it came back around. I mean, this has defied expectations from a technical level forever. If I open up and look down here, like there's right here, the RSI, there is bearish divergence on the RSI that goes back to August of 2023. So again, it shouldn't go up. The technicals want to bring it down. They wanted to bring it down for over a year and a half. And that's just one indicator. There's more. And then when you look at this thing and you look at what it's valued at, so let's just look at Palantir. And don't get me wrong, I love this company. I love Alex Karp. I fucking love that Amit and Arnie and all these other people have made a bunch of money. I made $600,000. I love this fucking company. But the forward PE is 85. It's kind of like Tesla right now. It's hot. And the existing one is 226. If we see any slowdown in Palantir whatsoever, this thing will get walloped. But again, maybe we get up to 160 on the PE. We'll see what earnings do. They're coming. But you could get up into there. So the 50 range, I would be out around the 50 range. That's my take. Long way of getting there, but that's me. Was up 20% this morning, so all my Palantir could definitely go up, but profit is profit. Yeah, and again, you could maybe make another 70%, or if you have calls, that could be a larger number. But I think there's better asymmetric bets. All right. Oh, this is bullshit. No, let me see. Oh, yeah, Tesla. Tesla has helped plant over 1 million trees. Can somebody tell this to these motherfuckers that are throwing orange paint on a fucking Cybertruck? Can somebody tell them that a Cybertruck is an electric vehicle? Can somebody tell them that there's no more efficient electric vehicles than what Tesla builds? And that Tesla also does solar installations and battery installations? If there's anybody saving the fucking world, it's Tesla. So, I don't know. Maybe shut the fuck up. All right. Real quick here. I wanted to show this. And let me fix the volume. We're not going to fuck the volume up this time. I want you to hear what what Trump says about Elon. I might have played this the other day. I don't care. I want you to hear it again.
I personally want to congratulate someone who truly embodies the American ethos of big thinking and risk-taking. After achieving success as an internet entrepreneur,
can you hear it?
He could have spent his fortune doing anything, including yachting, lots of things. He could do lots of things. But in 2002, he began pouring tens of millions of dollars of his own money into research and development for a new rocket. He's a little different than a lot of other people. He liked rockets. He assembled a crew of some of the greatest minds and talent in American aerospace. In the years since, SpaceX has become the first private company to develop and successfully launch its own rocket into orbit, the first to launch and recover its own capsule. And of course, moments ago, SpaceX became the first private company to put humans into orbit around the Earth. Elon Musk, congratulations. Congratulations, Elon.
So I just wanted to, I tried to get the volume up. Sorry if it wasn't loud. But that's a lot of praise that he was throwing down. And I think he meant it. I don't think Trump postures as much as he used to. If you guys haven't seen the All In podcast, one sec, I got to get rid of my dog. Shiley, go, old lady. Go. No, get the fuck. Okay. 1 second, guys. Give me a second. All right, let me get back. Let me get my screen up here. All right, there. Sorry, my very old geriatric dog wanted some attention. What was I saying? Where was I? Oh, yeah. Just that Donald Trump is giving huge, massive accolades to Elon Musk in a way like we've never seen before, and I don't think he postures as much as he used to. And if you don't think Donald Trump postures, I'm sorry, but he plays to the crowd all the time and says things, whatever anybody wants to hear, or at least that's what he used to be. But if you see the All In podcast, he actually is just like, I don't know if he's more confident right now and just doesn't care. I mean, he almost died too. But even before that, in this other interview with the All In podcast, he just seemed more articulate, honest, straighter to answer, not bullshitting, playing to the audience, right? like he did. I mean, he literally, this guy ran a TV show. I mean, he of course he's going to do that. But right here, this just seemed more genuine. And a lot of the things I've been seeing out of him lately are that. And I just think it's really interesting. And it speaks to the fact that I think that these guys are going to have a strong relationship going forward. I think that's it. We're done with the Tesla. We talked a little bit about Palantir. Let me see. Oh, do I want to do China? I don't want to do China. I don't want to do China. We're going to skip China. Let's just forget China as a thing. We're going to look at other stuff. We looked at Bitcoin. We looked at MicroStrategy. Let's go to Mara. Leor, thank you for the $10 tip, man. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to provide value to you guys. I'm really hoping that I'm going to. Actually, I know I'm going to. I can't say that, though, because I'm not a financial advisor. But I do think I'm going to. And that's my goal. But no, what I'm saying here, so CleanSpark, let's look at this real quick here. Or this is Mara. So it's taken a hit since. It's underneath this fib. But this right here screams of like, let me just see here, of like an ascending triangle. And what we're looking at here is something that's going to break higher with like a 74% probability or some shit. Like it's, when you add everything up, we look to break higher. And usually what you do is you do the measured move of your triangle. And this is kind of a weird one because we're starting it over here and it never made it all the way down. But I'm still going to count it. It doesn't really fucking matter. I haven't found any differences in it. But again, we've hit this multiple times now. And all the volume is beneath us. We've established support at multiple levels. We did it. We didn't even get down to the 100 moving average on the weekly. We could only get to the 50. We established it as support. We cradled above the 200 moving average. We're rocketing higher through the next fib level, but now getting drawn down in an overall market downturn. This is good. This is not bad price action. This is like the Cypher stuff I was talking about where it's getting ready to roll higher. So I would not be upset about this at all. This is going to end up being just fine. So, and they're all going to kind of look like this, but let's just go through some of the others real quick. And let me see. It was up to, okay, nope, saw that. Shale, love it. Thanks. Justin, did you see raccoons are trying to break into Cybertrucks? No. Is that a thing we're talking about? No. Is that enough? Roy, thanks for signing up. What the fuck? All right. You gotta give me more information there, Justin. CO0 says, yo, Jesse, if you only had limited capital, would you put it in a miner looking for a multiple BTC progression or just into BTC? Oh, fuck no, I wouldn't. So, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, blurbs at the bottom. But I would put it in, you put it in a multiplier. Like you should have done it when it was at 15K, but whatever, we're in the 60s. That's a good number. I would look at like maybe Cypher and CleanSpark, maybe just those two. I've got Mara too, which is a pretty big position, like several $100,000. But you could do like one of those three. I think Cypher will give you the most bang for your buck, and CleanSpark will probably be a close second. So that's what I would do. And then a year from now, roughly 9 to 15 months from now, I would sell out. That's what I'm going to do, and I'll tell you when it's happening. And then I would look at putting that into a combination of like hedging type instruments or things that could short Bitcoin once we think we peaked, and we're going to make sure of it from a bunch of different metrics. But I would sell out of it. I would buy your hedges. I would buy actual Bitcoin on a hardware wallet. That's what I usually do, and then maybe have some cash too. So there's going to be profit taking. It is coming. It's just 9 to 15 months out. That's what's going to happen. And also, CleanSpark, let's see, what is it up? It's up 900% from its low. So if you don't believe miners are a multiplier to Bitcoin's return, look at the fact that Bitcoin has went from about 16K to the 60s, and over that time, this has went 900%. And at one point was 1,363. So it's definitely a multiplier of Bitcoin's returns, and I would get that multiplier now, bro. That's what I would do. Tops tips. Cheers, pal. You are welcome. All right, let's do it. Next one, Cypher. So this is, again, the one that got kicked in the teeth, but God, what a beautiful fucking chart. So this looks like a shit coin that's getting ready to go wild. right? This is looking like a shitcoin that's getting ready to go wild. And if we look, what's the return been on this? So just a second ago, we hit up here. So this one had a almost 1,500% return. If we line this up here, I'm sorry, what? Let's make sure I got this about right. I'm sorry, almost 2,000% return. So again, I got to move the line a little bit, but it's about a 2,000% return that we've seen from the bottom. So if you own this instead of Bitcoin, you would have got like not even 300%, right? But this, you would have gotten 2,000%. So this is why in the bear market, you leverage, like maybe use call options at the bitty bottom, like when this thing is almost a penny stock. And I don't even know if I would have been in this one at that time. But I wasn't. But I was in CleanSpark, though. I mean, I was in CleanSpark here. This is where I was telling people to buy hard, all through here. This was me, right here. And I had options. I had calls in the dollars. In the dollars, I had calls. And this thing, the stock, went up to 20 fucking 5. So I'm pretty good at this. And you time it where at the bottom of the bear market, that's when you leverage in. Of any investment, you leverage in at the bottom. That's the only time I use options. And then as you start to make shit tons of money, you sell out of them. I sold out of these too quickly. Should have held them longer, gotten longer contracts. I'll probably do that next cycle. But I try to modify it each cycle to make it a little bit, more optimized than the previous. But look at the opportunities here. Like, they're fucking huge. So definitely buy the miners. Don't buy just Bitcoin right now. That's my take. And MicroStrategy is a multiplier too. Let me read here. Got some interesting. So Andy said, "Hey Jesse, I know you're not a big fan of Bitfarms, but can you take a look?" Yeah, dude, I will. I honestly haven't been paying attention to mine. I'm kind of locked in with miners. I just don't care. It gets to a point to where there's only so many brain cells I have available in a day, and only so many cycles that this processor will complete. So I try to focus on things that matter. And not just like going into the nitty gritty of these miners. I just don't give a fuck. I'd rather know what's happening across the board, across the macro economy in the world, in the indices, because then I can know if I'm going to make anything at all. Just being like ankles deep in fucking shit coins and miners, I think is a waste of energy, because if you're wrong about the macro view, you're going to get utterly fucking obliterated. So this is why you have to take a step back. But from a technical level, no, this is optimism. Let me fix this. I was going to tell you, it looks like optimism is a great buy right now. But from a technical level, this looks good. I think Bitfarms is fine in support. It's got the 200 underneath of it. It's got the .5 underneath of it. I think this thing can run 44% pretty quick. And yeah, I think it's a good pattern. Almost an inverse head and shoulder, but I don't like the shoulder going this deep. I'd like it up here. It might look better on the monthly chart. Maybe a little bit. Like shoulder, head, and then you got this, again, like tweezer bottom, just a beautiful tweezer bottom. And then you can see, like, again, this could be counted as another shoulder, which gets you past this, the 4 level. So I think from the technicals look good on it. I don't know shit outside of that with the company. I'm not paying attention. Maybe in the future I will. I don't care enough right now. All right, so let me see here. Jesse talking a bunch of hedging inputs. I'd appreciate your help to better understand put options. If this is too boring, just skip it. I probably won't go into all that detail now. I have 2 scenarios, dear company. I do have shorts, videos that I posted on YouTube, so you can take a look at some of those, kind of talking about hedging. And I did make some money off of a few of them, not as much as I'd like. And then another one I just got obliterated on. So hedging wasn't really a great strategy. It just probably won't be, at least for another year. So I don't know if I'm going to be super focused on that type of conversation. I am, though, looking towards what I'll hedge my bets with when I start to sell out. Like, let's fast forward a year ahead, or 9 months, 15 months. Bitcoins went up a shit ton. Teslas went up a shit ton. Markets have just skyrocketed. But we're looking at weakness in the economy, and it's starting to just look like things are hot, but the narrative on AI is wearing out. Autonomy is wearing out. Again, not as things that are going to happen in the future, just like, do these prices make sense? So fast forward to that time, and I'm going to want to hedge, and I'll probably be hedging with some combination of bonds, maybe shorter duration, treasury type stuff. I'll be hedging with the U.S. dollar at that time because people will be talking about how shitty the dollar, like how we're falling apart and stuff. But also when shit hits the fan, that's what people are going to jump to. I'll be evaluating whether or not gold has done well. Gold does not do well when an economy rolls over. It actually usually takes a hit, but it can recover quicker than some things. Still, though, from what I've found historically, I think it's better to own individual solid stocks or investments, and you'll still outperform gold. But maybe reevaluate gold at that time while looking at bonds and just looking at everything as an opportunity, and then also puts. And I will go into more of those later on as well. Whenever I start to think that we're getting anywhere close to toppy, like maybe 6 months before toppy, I'm going to start talking about hedging, and I'm going to start buying some of the things that I'm looking to hedge with. And I will take you guys for that ride. All right, I'm going to skip some of the just really recent because I feel like I'm forgetting the people in the back. So anyway, we did miners. Let's move on past that. Let's look at Palantir did really good today. So, we did talk about it, though. Let's go to PayPal. PayPal. So PayPal down 2%. Not a great day, but again, the small caps were just getting smacked. So, I don't know. Still needs to break out. It's going to happen. I just feel like an idiot because I keep saying that. But it's going to happen. It's coming soon. We've done a really great job establishing this support zone. Unless I'm just completely wrong about the macroeconomy, we're going to stop here and start rolling up. Hood. Again, kind of neutered, but I would argue with Hood, if we just look at this, let me use this. I never do this enough. If we just look here, you can see how it's just pushing up, and it's kind of staying underneath, but it's keeping volume underneath of it, which I think is beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like there's a base still under here, and it wants to hold on to it. Now, if we broke under 22 tomorrow, then we could see a little bit of a sweep here to previous support, maybe at 20. But if we don't, and even if that happens, that's still totally healthy. So I don't know. I'm going to be in a dip buying mood tomorrow. So I'm hoping Tesla or something keeps going up so that I can use it as some liquidity to buy other stuff. I don't think Hood will be that because it's not enough of a multiplier for me. Again, I already made my 500-600%. Some of you made it with me, right? So not too long ago. SoFi. I still think SoFi looks wicked strong. It's only down, it was down 4% on the day. It's up 0.5 in after hours. So it looks weak here, but again, a lot of stuff got smoked. But I just want to say, when we're lining this up, going back to November 2021, we wicked above for the second time. I would be shocked if by the end of tomorrow, we weren't at least testing up here to like the 750, 760 range. So I'm saying tomorrow we should actually be a little bit up on SoFi at worst case, even if the markets are down again tomorrow. This thing should try and find support. If it doesn't, then by next week it needs to be up near the .618, near $8. And but I think it's going up. Thoughts on Bitcoin topping in 2024? No way. There's no way. We have global liquidity. There's nothing on the global stage that shows that we're going to be slowing down with money spending. It's going to all be picking up. Even Biden can't talk about raising taxes, okay? So we know that's not happening. So we know China's desperate, and we know that China, you know what? That's one thing real quickly I should jump into. Let me see if I have anything about China. Government testing artificial intelligence. Yeah, I made a joke about that. That was funny. Let me see. Michael Pettis. I've been arguing with him as of late. I'm trying to see. There's one in here. I'll have to find it. Maybe I can bring it up next time. So they've had tons of bank failures. 40 banks failed in a week. Not that, though. There's like another $100 billion of liquidity that they were providing. I'll try and find it. But my whole point is China is in a desperate need to money print. And they will too. So we got the U.S. money printing. We've got China money printing. And then and so global liquidity is increasing because this is stuff that's going to be applied to the banking sector. It has to reach broader money supply. So it has to be applied, right? Well, lending is going up. Banks are looking more profitable. If we don't see the economy rolling over with global liquidity growing, and again, you got to think about the talk of Trump being regulation friendly. Business owners right now are like, oh, maybe we should do a small expansion of what we were talking about doing. Looks like Trump's going to be president. If our taxes aren't going up and if the world's getting better, again, people use their political views to decide what they're doing. And they're like, oh, so maybe we're going to be all right here. We're not going to have to worry about higher taxes, that they're going to help grow the economy so we can expand a little. You've got all these different narratives playing out with liquidity, with all the stuff like with Bitcoin. The Bitcoin cycle shouldn't top until the latter part of 2025. It historically has been perfect every other cycle as far as predicting these things within a certain time frame. So there is just so much, and there's more than that. There's a lot more. There's just a lot of things that are going on economically in the United States. It's just some of the economic data I showed you guys that are saying that we're not, this train ain't stopping, man. If anything, it's picking up. The ETFs that we got for Bitcoin, and the fact that that provides all these inlets, the 15,000 brokers that are getting ready to start recommending it, the fact that China could maybe start looking at it as a reserve and that we're doing it. There's just like shit. It's so much. We're going to see a cycle that's better than we've ever had before. Now, maybe not in percentage returns because there's diminishing returns with economies of scale. The market is a lot bigger now, but it's going to be still record breaking. I think it'll be a higher percentage than last cycle. So if we can outperform last cycle, no, we will not be topping out in 2024. By the way, check out Render. Won't regret it. I actually own Render. So, and I know that's kind of an AI narrative play tied in with NVIDIA, but I do own some. All right, real quickly here. Let's see what else we got here. SoFi. So yeah, SoFi. I think we're going to break higher. I think we're going to get to 12 soon enough, like up here where we were before. I don't own any of this. I don't really have a vested interest. I might have like 1,000 or two, but I do think it's going up. If I had money in it, that would be my bet. It's just not asymmetric enough for me. I thought my bets were better placed with PayPal, Bitcoin-related investments, and ARKG. Square. Square, down 5.36. Again, just a lot of stuff getting crushed. All the players that really started to run are getting crushed, and they're back testing levels of support. You can see us hitting, key volume down here in the 63 range, and you can see how we got tons of volume underneath of us here, this huge shelf. I don't think we're going to break it whatsoever. ARKG. So these are just like key buying opportunities, in my opinion, especially if the market takes advantage of it and starts beating it up. The small caps narrative is still going to happen. And again, ARKG trend lines going back to 2020. And we're still above it on support. You see this better on the weekly. I think you see it. Yeah, it's pretty good on the weekly. You see how it broke down 1 week. But outside of that, really, if you're looking here, it's been finding support. Yeah, weekly's probably the cleanest. It's been finding support in this range on what used to be previous resistance going through the way back. You can see how we tried to break through this once, broke down, tried to break through it again, established support, just couldn't do it. Now we had this triple bottom down here, like this W bottom, but really kind of a triple bottom, and we look like we want to scream higher. So I still see that happening, even though it's down 4.5%. The fact that on the weekly it perfectly touched that 50 moving average and then retraced just shows that it had power to get to a key technical level. Whenever I see a chart get to a key technical level over a short period of time, I'm impressed. So I still think it's going to do well. Let's look at Flux. And then we'll start to go through. So we're going through my shit, and then we'll start to go through some of the others. Flux down today, 0.5%, 0.5% in after hours too. So 1%. Whatever. Got like 0.5% in this thing. Let me go to DLO. Still covering it though, because I think it can do all right. I think the narrative is at least good. And I think narratives are all that's going to matter in the next 6 months. DLO. So DLO dropped a little bit, 2.74. I do think it's in a bottoming pattern. It's down like 90%. 89.4% from August of 2021. But when you look at the financials on this, they're not horrible. They kind of had a shitty quarter last, but they're guiding for higher. So next earnings are going to be important. I will be hosting them on my channel. MB on shitcodes. What do you think of Free Ross Dow as short-term, super small size bet? I don't even know what that is. BTC conference coming, and if Trump speaks about freedom. Oh, Ross. Oh, that's the Ross Albert. Oh, shit. I don't know. I don't know if that gets directly impacted by it, because Trump could just be like, I'll let him go. So I don't know. What? How does that, like? Is it a betting thing or is it like a funding thing to help him get out? I don't remember the details of it. Let me know if you can give me that information, MB. All right, let me go back. I'm going to go back to the beginning of chat here, and I'm now going to look at things that people were talking about. So Rashab said, "Hey Jesse, do you see Cypher getting acquired? Any change in outlook?" I don't care. So Dow to support him. Okay, cool. Yeah. So I don't know if that matters, but I do think that Trump might just say, "I'm going to free him," and he totally can. So we'll see. We'll see what he says, but I think that's decently likely. Like maybe a coin flip is my guess. All right, but yeah. So Cypher, the getting acquired thing, I don't care, and the reason I don't care is that it doesn't matter. I don't have options. If I had options, I'd be worried about an acquisition because there could be targets for the acquisition. Kind of like what happened for anybody who made money on Matterport. I only made like double my money on Matterport. The people underneath of me that had less ambitious strike prices made more than I did when they got acquired. But so I don't know. If you're not in options, then I don't think it matters at all. If they get acquired, then you're just going to be thrown into another stock, and you'll get some nice value from it, and I'm sure you'll make good money from it. So I'm not worried about it. It's probably one of the better problems that can happen. We'll see. And no, my outlook hasn't changed. It's just it's such a small stock. It's like just still in the billions range. So it could grow a lot. It could 10x. So my outlook has not changed much. I think it's a good one. All right, Daniel King. Hey Jesse, would like to request your thoughts on Open. Thinking that rate cuts could help these guys going forward. Thanks for everything you do, man. Yeah, I get a lot of requests on Open. So rate cuts could help them. They have been decimated. I don't know how quickly they'll help them. See, the thing is, I don't know. I don't know enough about the churn in the real estate market because it can take a while to really get impactful earnings. Now, this stock has been dropped a lot, and you can see from a technical level it is finding levels of support, right? But when we look at the actual financials of Open, they look fairly abysmal, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so 62% loss in revenue. I mean, just look at these numbers. They're just not great. $3.4 million. They had this really great growth, but then arguably, even before rates started to really go up, they started to kind of tread sideways. And that was before the fastest rates and increases in history. And they've never really been profitable. And they're diluting shares. And again, I'm sorry, that was homes purchased. There's revenue. But it's even worse, right? Like, it's just not great. And could it pick up? Yes. Again, these home sold numbers are not good. This could turn around. It could be something where you could do well. I'm just not sure of the timing of it. I don't know. Because again, even their own guidance, and maybe this is just super conservative guidance, but I think that it's going to take a while to really ignite the markets in homes. And it's probably not until like maybe latter part of spring of this next year. Or maybe it's early spring. Maybe people get a jump on it in warmer climates. That's possible. But I do think you'll start to see the markets go up. I just haven't decided whether or not this is a good one. I should actually look at it from an options standpoint too and do more research. I'm going to do that. I'm going to look at Open. That's my next stock to look at. I haven't done a stock in a while. I'm going to look at Open Door. Matterport was fun, and I love that people made a bunch of money off of it, hundreds of percent. Some cases, I think some people made over 1,000 because they had lower strikes and they just crushed it when they got acquired like I thought they might. Well, I didn't think they might. I thought they were going to do good. I didn't think they were going to get acquired. I should have. But yeah, so I'll take a look at Open Door because maybe I'm just discounting it too much. I'll look. Did you want me, feeling OG vibes, did you want me to look at Render from a technical chart standpoint too? If so, let me know and I'll look at it. All right, let me see. I'll catch up with chat here too. Michael Myers, thanks for covering DLO. I'm still in. Hopefully it pops or else I'll sell. Yeah, I've got like 30K. I'm like 1% in, I think, almost, or close to it. Kill some capital gains, no big deal either way. That's the way I look at it. It's like it's 1%. If it fucking gets destroyed, I don't care. If it gives me 10x, cool. So I think anybody in it should probably do that. And with any of the stocks I recommend, unless I'm just like super bullish and I give you all these great reasons why, I mean, why dedicate more than 1% to something that you don't understand? Financials look bad, but their inventory is now 2x-ish their market cap. MB up 30% on it right now. Cool. Look at Open's inventory, Jesse. I will. Let me go back, actually. Are you talking about... Do I have them still pulled up? Oh, no, I do. Right here. Duh. Let me see. It's probably got it over here. No. Homes sold, net homes, homes purchased. Does he have inventory on here? I don't know if he does. I will look at it later. Thank you for the advice. All right, Daniel King. That's the one I did. Justin, Ethy, please. Yes, I can do that. So Ethy got crushed, I believe, but I think there's a reason for that. I posted about it on X. I think it got smacked because people are getting ready for the ETF, and I think it might have been operating at a premium. So because if you look here, if you look at Ethereum, let's just look here. Let me type it in. I'll look at it over here. If you look at the number 2, can I even go deeper into a chart here? Maybe I can. Anyway, just look at what's happened here in the last couple of days. It hasn't really went anywhere. Nowhere crazy, right? It definitely didn't go down like dramatically in the last day by like 10%, but Ethy did, and the reason was it was operating at a premium, and the discount window is closing. So basically, minus the fees, this is probably the right price for Ethereum now, or Ethy now, based upon the price of Ethereum if they get the ETF and they convert to it. So I think I wasn't looking at the premium discount in a while. Maybe it was at a premium and I wasn't paying attention, or maybe it briefly went to it and now it's retraced. But soon it will be like for like once they turn it into an ETF. So I think this is probably a good place if you think Ethereum's going to be something. If you don't like Vitalik's political comments, then maybe you don't buy here. All right, Adam, Bridgie. I mean, personally, I don't care. I'm still going to own mine, but I think he's wrong. Adam, hi, Jesse. Been watching for a few months now. In your last recap, you said people have been leaving. I thought it's time, and I joined because I appreciate and difference people. I really appreciate it, Adam. Thanks, man. You guys are really kind. I know some people leave. That happens in life, right? There's some people that are there for like fair weather friends, right? There's people that will be a part of your life for a brief period of time, and then they'll leave. Some of them come back, though, when they realize that they should. And others stick around, so and appreciate what they have. So I try to help you guys as much as I can, and I think I provide value. So I appreciate it when you guys tell me that. It's really fucking cool. Daniel 24 up. While getting out of long-term Tesla options, wondering if you would consider going into TSLL. No, because it's kind of the same thing. So I'm getting a 2 to 3x multiplier on my options. You're talking about switching to a 2x multiplier. I would just switch to stock. You're going to want to remove leverage as you make more money. That's how you swing trade. That's what I do, guys. I buy Ethy down here. I sell Ethy up here. Okay? That's what I do. That's my game, okay? With everything. So you lever at the bottom, and then you de-lever as you start to make shit tons of money. So I would switch just to stock. And again, I've told you guys I'm over 20% out right now on my Tesla calls. Once we get to 300, I'll probably be like 30% out, maybe 35. Maybe I'll do more. Depends on the macro. I'll let you guys know as like I always do. But dial out and get into the stock and or other investments. That's my take. And I think Tesla's going to be an amazing investment. Just don't hold something that as time goes by, it will degrade in value. If you just go sideways, it will get lower. And you don't want that. You don't want to have that theta decay, which is what happens in options. If you know it's a great company and you made a bunch because you use this multiplier, you want to make sure that you can save it all and keep it. So de-lever. That's my advice. Always. Sally Vang. Hey, Jesse, thoughts on IWM? I love it. I think Tom Lee is right that we're getting ready to see it go up a lot. I think it did run really well along with the Russell. So having a retrace is pretty normal. That is my take. And I think that this is probably a good buy zone. If not today, I would guess that tomorrow will be. If we see any more of a drop here, I would say tomorrow would be a good place to get it, because I don't see us staying under the 222 range for long. I just don't. Even though, again, we have gapped up so hard. So hard. I mean, look at that. That's such a huge... I got to change this to green, but look at how this thing has done nothing. What is this? July 24th. This is December of 2023. Let's just keep going. This thing is the same price that it was in January of 2022 and really January of 2021. So, and not much higher. And we could just keep going back. 2019. Like, we are at a time in the small cap market where we're not crazy higher than 2018. And it has some room to make up. We can blow through 244, I'd say, pretty easily. So, I don't know. Small caps still have a long ways to run, in my opinion. And I think IWM will give you a good return on that. I think we could be at 250 in short order. So 16%. But again, with the numbers I've been showing you for returns of other stuff I'm invested in, does this seem that great? TNA is a leveraged version of that. So yeah, let me see. TNA... So, or I'm sorry, 3X. Yeah, 3X version of this. So if you were going to do it, this would be a better way of doing it, because you get a dividend and just look at like the level of return you could get just getting to previous all-time highs. You could get to 114 really quickly. So you could, instead of getting like a, 20% return or something, you could get 100, 15, 20, 50% very quickly. So this would be a good option if you want to play the small caps and you don't want to be a stock picker. I don't really care much. I'm pretty good at what I do, so I don't care about it. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hold value. If you don't want to be a stock picker, that's a good one. Albert, hey Jesse, who do you think might be thinking about acquiring? I don't care, really, at all. I think listen to people like Invest Answers or Sebastian Ski, those kind of people, or be a part of like the mining mafia. Even though there's some retarded motherfuckers in there, it's still beneficial. They can answer questions like that probably. I mean, the non-stupid ones. Tech YYZ. Hi Jesse, can we take a look at Dell? You think there's more pain to come before a bounce? I don't like Dell. I don't think so, and I could be wrong. I'm not versed on what Dell's doing from a technology standpoint. I have not paid attention to Dell at all. I don't know how much they benefit from like the AI narrative, if any, for infrastructure and the AI server farms and just that ecosystem. But this was a huge run. From September of 2022, or October, it was at 31-ish. And then it got to $180 a share. This bitch run. That's, to me, that's really good. Now let's look at the financials for it. What does it look like? It's probably not really a growth company anymore, I would guess. Let's look here. What are we seeing for growth? Flat ass revenue. Flat. Look at this. Nothing really. Not crazy different than from 2013, really. And net income, though, they did a pretty good job since like 2020 at keeping net income positive, which those were some tough years. So they did a good job. But outside of that, and they're buying back shares, they're lowering operating expenses, they're positive on cash flow for the most part. They had a few tough years. 6% revenue growth, so single digit. Forward PE of 16 is not crazy high. So I don't know. I don't know what these guys like. This is run a lot. I think maybe you back test to at least 112. That would be my guess, or even down to the 50. But again, this market, if we're as bullish as I think we are in the coming months and quarters, maybe it keeps running. Because if the market is bullish overall, it can drag this even higher. And the forward PE isn't crazy. It's like 15. Of course, you don't have double-digit growth. But I don't know. It's a decent company. I don't know. It's just like Michael Dell is selling stock so he can buy Bitcoin. Right? That's like kind of what we know. So if he's selling stock to buy Bitcoin, what should you be doing? I can tell you personally, I would be selling stock to buy Bitcoin. That's what I would be doing, and then I would be getting miners because I want a multiplier. All right, I think, all right, I'll get to a crowd. Hey, Derek Fisher says, hey, Jesse, looking at the significant dip in CrowdStrike, I think this has had over the last few days. What would the price have to drop down for you to consider it to be an asymmetric bet? All right, I'll do CrowdStrike, and I'll do NVIDIA, and then I think I'm going to call it after that. So let me get over here. Let's pull up Crowd on this standpoint. Let's look at, what is it, CRWD? Yeah. So let's look at it here and see what it's like. It's a steady eddy. It's got subscription revenues going up. Professional services maybe toppy. Profit contribution from subscriptions is high. Cash flow is positive. Net income is getting there. 42 million in net income for last quarter. I think again, it's just a good company. Cash piles are growing. Not getting crazy on operating expenses. This is a good company. Forward PE, though, is 88, and the current PE ratio is 644. So I've said for a while that this one could just keep going down because it was just richly valued. But it is a great company. So the question is, does it deserve the valuation that it has? And each quarter will find that out, right? Like with CrowdStrike. Now, it's getting a rejection at the .618. This would be the place to do it. This would be the place to drop. So maybe it can go down further from here. What did we get to? 400, and now we're at 343. I would bet that it could go lower. I don't know, though. It doesn't have to. Again, like, this is just one of the things where the market could drive this. If the market's still fucking bullish, then maybe we go to 530, right? Like, maybe something stupid happens, or we just keep trying to go higher, because it's already up 300% from where it was in January of 2023. That's a hell of a return. So to me, this asymmetric bet is played out. But can it double-ish? Maybe. Could it also drop down to like the 270s? Maybe. It's probably one or the other. It's probably down here, or up here. And it's like a coin flip to me right now. I think the market's still going to outperform. So again, maybe this does well too. I just don't think it'll do as well as other things. All right, NVIDIA. Let's look at NVIDIA, and then I'm going to call it, guys, because I am toast. I need to hang out with my wife. And the kids had a sleepover with the grandparents for 2 days, which is awesome. I had this weird itch on my face. I don't know if it's from all the skeeters. Finally started spraying for bugs around here. We've got so much water. There's just mosquitoes everywhere. So hopefully I won't be getting any more bug bites. But NVIDIA, we got a gap that we're going to be closing eventually. If anything, this would just tell me that this just looks fucking bullish, honestly. This just looks like a falling wedge. Could it be like a channel? Maybe. But it would have to drop pretty hard tomorrow. But to me, this still, right now, looks bullish. And it looks like it can go higher. So, it's dumb as it sounds. And NVIDIA, again, like, such a crazy company for how much... For a while, there's going to be a quarter where it sucks. I think that could maybe still at least be next year. I don't think it's this year. Because they're still breaking and guiding. Maybe it's this year. I doubt it. I think they're still going up. Look at this operating leverage. This is one of the most beautiful things ever. Look at the revenue growth versus their expenses. It's just stupid. Look at the net income for last quarter. Almost $15 billion of net income for this fucking company. Their forward PE is 45. So could they double? Easily. In my opinion. This thing, we could be at 250, 240. Why not? Fuck yeah. That's coming. I'll try and update my chart on this one too. Thoughts on Tesla earnings? I think they're going to be good. We know that we had a bunch of Cybertrucks, and people like me are fucking crazy, man. I bought like almost every accessory they provide outside of the tent. Yeah, so I think that they're going to do really well. I think they've been ramping at a slow enough pace where they're fixing a lot of the bugs so that they don't have to do a bunch of recalls later. They're balancing this approach of like, constantly fixing shit and making it better. Like the broken wiper. I had a broken wiper shortly after I got my Cybertruck. I was pissed about it. Let them know. They fixed it right away. They had a service guy come out to my car, fix the wiper, topped off my wiper fluid, and then then the guy said, oh, hey, Tesla wants me to go ahead and take the wiper so that they can look at it and observe the defect, even though they have the picture of the defect. They want to actually physically, like, maybe do some things with it and test it. And so they took my fucking wiper blade to try and figure out how to resolve the issues and make the car better. This is the recalls people worry about. They worry when there's like a couple of 100 cars that had a problem with the pedal glue on the accelerator. Sounds horrible, but they fixed it really quickly and then started reproducing all the cars again. Then a wiper breaks, and they fixed that almost like in a week, probably, of people experiencing a lot of defects. They've already redesigned and done a recall on it. They just like, people don't realize the innovation pace of this company and how much better they're getting. So yeah, I think Tesla earnings are going to be good. I think they're going to be good because we know energy is expanding and getting better, and that's a higher margin portion of the business. I think they're going to be good because they're using other things to sell instead of just lowering price. They're doing things like dragging out lower APRs for a period of time, which I think from a financial reporting standpoint should be beneficial to them. They got a lot of cash on the balance sheet that they could put to work. So I think the AI narrative is going to start taking hold, and I think that we're going to see a continuation of the rally after the earnings. That's my thought. Going into earnings, though, man, if you're wrong, you get your ass handed to you. Or if the market, you could be right on earnings, and the market could just be in a bad fucking mood, and you get screwed. So, so I don't know. Earnings are tough. But eventually we will find balance and do what we're supposed to do. And I think it's going up. I think SoFi looks great. I talked about it earlier, RJ. I think it looks fucking amazing. All right, Netflix earnings. MB says, look good, but only 1% up after hours. This is an indicator for upcoming earnings. No, I think that's great, actually, if it maintains. If Netflix had great earnings and they're just up a little bit, all that means is that if the market decides that it's dropped enough tomorrow, Netflix is going up. So Netflix is like your easy bet if it can hold it. And I didn't do the earnings call. I don't know if it's up, but it should really be down. Like, I don't know that. We'll see. But it looks like it had a massive sell-off. Wow. There must have been some confusion. Jesus. Whoa. 600. It got down to $5.99, 600. It got down to 600 in after hours, and then up to 658, and now it's at 647 and up almost 1%. So I would say this is, if this is anything, this is a positive. This is a positive, and it's actually an indication of a bottoming, I think, on Netflix. Let's just see real quick. Let's confirm with volume, right? Let's see if we can see anything with volume. And we might need to even do a weekly. We're getting near the end of the week, so we can probably do a weekly. Maybe it isn't. Oh, it doesn't look very high here. Or it's just too hard to see. No, but we are seeing some here. So we'll see. We'll see what it does. This looks like a bottoming pattern to me. I got to draw the chart out more. There is a huge gap down here. And again, I don't know the details of earnings. But if there's some hidden shit in there that we're not seeing yet that's negative, you could see this thing still roll over to 500. So I don't know. I have to research this one more. But yeah, I would say still, though, I think if it's up at all in after hours and the earnings are decent, I think this would be a stock that I would look towards bouncing tomorrow if the market decides to go up. So this would be like an easy way to place a bet and get a multiplier to the upside, in my opinion. All right, I think I'm done. Needs55 says, you are truly a rock star, my friend. Have a great weekend. You too. Yeah, I probably won't be here for Friday, but we'll pick it up again Monday and Wednesday of next week. I might try and do a weekend video. I keep saying that. I don't do it. There will be a day. Here's what I can tell you. When I am needed, when shit really hits the fan, I make more videos. When I think things are super fucking crazy and I think people need to know because they're going to run away or something, I try it. I will be there for you. I should say this. I will make videos telling you to get the fuck out when the time comes. That's the timing that we're getting towards now, right? I'll make videos that try to tell you to stop, that try and get you to pull back, that try to get you to take profits, because I want to see you make money and hold it. So I'll be making a lot of those videos in the future when I think the timing is starting to come. I'm going to try and start to turn the ship. And ships don't turn very quick when they're real big. And we're a big ship. So we'll start talking about it before it happens. That way you can step into it and lock in profits off of things like Bitcoin, things like Tesla and whatever else you're in. We'll look at the charts. We'll talk about the fundamentals of the companies. We'll talk about the macro. We'll talk about it all so that we can figure out what to do at the right time, because that's important. Anyway, for anybody who's here still, if you could like, super appreciate it. If you could leave comments afterwards too, that's great. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys frequenting and coming back all the time. I'll try and make sure that it's worth it. And for everybody that helps me out too and that helps fund this in some way, you guys rock too. So take it easy. Have a great day. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.
Lil Bubble, let me ride that rocket.
Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. People love the pump. Yep. Got them lining up. Wow. See us winning, FOMO in and YOLO by the top. Dream of Lamborghini. Girlfriend in bikini. Front covered Forbes magazine is where you'll see me. Oh, what? How? Price went down. Who will save us now? Felt like a hero. Now the fear is here and it's clear it's steering to zero. Hands weak, bags heavy, and I'm ready to forget about already all the hopes and the dreams. So puke your position like mom spaghetti. I'm hungry and got long cash on and ready to just buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. When there's people crying, that's when I'll be buying. Yeah. When they tell you their investment conviction is dying. Oh no. But the market's dead. Yeah. That's what TV man said. It's time to sell it, walk away and sit in cash instead. Pump, what? Price go up, guess that's just your luck. Sold at the bottom a lot of you gotta learn how to hold on to whatever money you're gonna earn and not get shaken out when they run the stops. Although it tends to pretend to the dips and the bends, you know the trend is your friend all the way to the end. So I buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Oh. Buy that fucking dip. Dump it on the top and spit. Buy that shit. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. Buy that fucking dip. Yeah. When it drops, better cop. Let it fucking rip.